the president and CEO of Hockey Canada, Tom Renney, and I think, Tom, that people kind of from outside looked at it was one of two choices, Mike Babcock or Joel Quenneville. They're both on the staff. How did you guys arrive at this setup?
Well, as you well know, Elliot, there's a lot of good coaches, no question about that. And I guess to get it down to a couple, may appear obvious to some, but certainly not to us. We're lucky to have that kind of depth. But really, at the end of the day, we talked about the experience that might be required in a short-term event, and with Mike's pedigree, obviously, and as the success he's had, throughout his career internationally, it was important for us to make sure that we identified him as our leader. But without a doubt, Joel is an exceptional coach and one of the very best in the world. So we're real happy that we have both of these fellas leading us.
You're a guy who's obviously done a lot of coaching. When you look at the staff, what are the key dynamics you look at in terms of this is why this person's brought in or this is why that person's brought in?
It's probably a question better asked of Mike, but with that being said, too, in the discussions we had prior to naming Mike as our head coach, you want to look at people that bring a certain acumen. They all do. They're all head coaches in the National Hockey League, of course. So the ability to to take a specialty team, for example, and hone it in a short period of time to have success is important, obviously. I think, too, with that comes a certain acumen with respect to the technical aspects of the game and being able to put a plan together quickly, being able to scout opposition and opposition tendencies and make sense of that, and also put the work in that's required to do those types of things over a 2-week period. That's a very intense time of these guys' lives. I mean, their training camps are underway at the same time. So the ability to stay focused and dialed in on the task at hand really represents, I think, what this coaching staff's all about.
We've seen at the management level, Wayne Gretzky did 2 of these things. He decided that was enough. Steve Yzerman did 2 of these, decided it was enough. Pat Quinn coached 2, decided it was enough. Were you ever worried that 3 major events like this was too much for one person?
I think that's a fair question, and had I not worked with Mike, maybe I would have a different opinion. But that too being said, it really came down to to his choice, quite honestly, and whether or not he could handle it. And I think all of these fellas, as are all the coaches in the NHL, quite honestly, Elliot, are very, very competitive, proud people with a certain pedigree in order to do these things anyway. With that being said, I think we're in good shape.
How much do you look at the roster? I'm curious, from outside, how much change do you see from the group that won the gold in Sochi?
Real good question. I'm probably more interested in little minor hockey rosters than I am this one at this point in time. I just want kids playing hockey. That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, we have people in place that understand, the talent pool that's available to us, both in Canada and abroad, of course. But that being said, there'll be changes. There's no question about that, and I think that's healthy as it should be. But again, as I mentioned, I probably have more inclination to give you an idea of who's playing for the Pee Wee team in Kenora than I am this team at this point in time.
Well, I know you got the under-17s going on right now. The women are at the Four Nations Cup. Good luck, and thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Elliot.
Darren?